Hello everyone. Recently, the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network. Recently, the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network, also called SDSN, released the Sustainable Development Report of 2026, which measures the performance of countries on the Sustainable Development Goals. According to this report, India ranked 94th out of 167 countries with the score of 68.3 out of 100 countries. If we compare this with the previous year, India was ranked 99th in 2025. Interestingly, 2025 was the first time India entered the top 100 countries in the SDG ranking. If we look at the long term trend, in 2050, in 2015, India was ranked 112th, and today India stands at 94th, improving by 18 places over the last decade. This shows that India has made significant progress in many sustainable development goals, although several challenges still remain. But before understanding India's performance, an important question arises: what exactly is sustainable development? So, according to the United Nations, sustainable development means development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. अगर हम सिंपल वर्ड्स में समझें तो जो आज हम डेवलपमेंट करें, इंडस्ट्रीज लगाएं, रोड्स बनाएं, जीडीपी बढ़ाएं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि फ्यूचर जनरेशन के पास नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज ही ना बचें. सो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इज ऑल अबाउट मेंटेनिंग अ बैलेंस बिटवीन इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, social welfare, and environment protection. Now let us understand how this concept evolved over time. So now we will talk about the history of development of sustainable goals. So in 1983, UN established the UN established the World Commission on Environment and Development. The chairperson of this commission was Gro Harlem Brundtland, who was the former minister of Norway. Because she chaired this commission, it is popularly known as Brundtland Commission. After several years of research, the commission published its famous report in 1987, published its report Our Common Future, which defined the Sustainable Development Goals first times. After this, in 1992, the next major milestone came, which is the Earth Summit, organized in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, also called the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, in which the more than 178 countries participated. The summit had three major outcomes. First is the principles to guide sustainable development, in which the Rio Declaration contains 27 guiding principles that advise countries on how economic development should go hand in hand with environment protection. In simple words, ये प्रिंसिपल कंट्रीज को गाइड करते हैं कि डेवलपमेंट और एनवायरनमेंट के बीच बैलेंस कैसे मेंटेन किया जाए. एंड सेकंड इज द एजेंडा 21, which is in a global action plan. Agenda 21 was a comprehensive global action plan for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. That's why it is called Agenda 21. It encourages governments, local authority, industries, and citizens to work together on issues such as poverty reduction, education, environment conservation, sustainable agriculture, and resource management. सो एजेंडा 21 एक रोड मैप था जो बताता था कि सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट को प्रैक्टिकली कैसे इंप्लीमेंट किया जाए. देन द थर्ड इज द फॉरेस्ट प्रिंसिपल. These were non-legally binding principles that guiding countries on the conservation, protection, and sustainable management of all types of forest. Although countries were not legally bound to follow them, they serve as an important international guideline for forest conservation. Then in 2000, 8 Millennium Development Goals came. After the Earth Summit, the world realized that development should not only focus on the environment but also on poverty, health, education. Therefore, in the year 2000, United Nations adopted the Millennium Development Goals, also famously known as MDG goals. These consisted of 8 global goals which were to be achieved by 2050. We will discuss these goals in detail in the uh, next section. Before this, we have to be completed the timeline of the birth of SDG. So after 1992, in 2002, Rio plus 10 happened because till now the Earth Summit had completed its 10 years, which is also held in Johannesburg, South Africa. It reviewed the process of after the Earth Summit. So the main objective of this summit was to review the progress made after the Earth Summit and identify areas where further action was required. After this, in 2012, Rio plus 20 happened, which is after the 10 years later of Rio plus 10 and 20 years later of Earth Summit. That's why it is also called Rio plus 10. It is also held in Rio de Janeiro. This conference recognized that the Millennium Development Goals alone were not sufficient to address all global challenges. So it was a broader framework of sustainable development. And finally, it was agreed in 2015 at UN Sustainable Development Summit in New York, which is known as the birth of Sustainable Development Goals. And also the Agenda 30 was adopted here for the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a broader framework than MDG. So till now we understood how the concept of sustainable development evolved from the Brundtland Commission in 1983 to the adoption of the sustainable development goals in 2050. But before understanding SDG, one important question arises in your mind: what were the Millennium Development Goals? So in the year 2000, UN adopted 8 Millennium Development Goals, which had to be achieved by 2015. So the first is the eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. The first goal was to eliminate extreme poverty and reduce hunger across the world. In some in simple words, किसी भी व्यक्ति को बेसिक फूड, क्लोथिंग और शेल्टर की कमी ना हो, सबको मिनिमम स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग अवेलेबल हो. And second is that achieving universal primary education, which means that ensuring that every child completes primary education irrespective of gender, caste, religion, or economic background. So, here the education was considered the foundation of long term development. And the third is promote gender equality. It aimed to eliminate gender discrimination, ensure equal opportunity for women in education, employment, politics, and decision making. सो वुमेन को इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलनी चाहिए, नॉट जस्ट ऑन पेपर बट इन रियलिटी. नाउ फोर्थ इज द रिड्यूस चाइल्ड mortality. This goal focused on reducing the death of children below the age of 5 by improving facilities such as vaccination, nutrition, sanitation, and healthcare facilities. And the last three are, in which the fifth is improve maternal health, which aimed to reduce maternal mortality by providing better health care during pregnancy, childbirth, and post-delivery care. And sixth is we have to be combat HIV/AIDS malaria, and other diseases. This goal focused on controlling infectious diseases like HIV/AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, and other communicable diseases through awareness, medicines, and public health programs. Seventh is ensure environmental sustainability, which is an most important goal of Millennium Development Goals. This goal highlighted the need to conserve natural resources, reduce environment degradation, improve access to safe drinking water, and promote sustainable use of ecosystem. And eighth is develop a global partnership for development. The final goal recognizes that no country can achieve development alone. Developed and developing countries should work together through final assistance, technology transfer, fair trade, and international cooperation. Why were the MDG replaced? Now the question is arises in your mind that why the MDG goals were replaced by SDG. If MDG were already there, then why did the world introduce the SDG? The answer is that although the MDG brought significant improvement in many areas, most of the goals could not be fully achieved by 2050. There were several reasons behind this. First, the MDG mainly focused on developing countries, while developed countries had very limited responsibilities. Second, environmental issues like climate change, biodiversity loss, and sustainable consumption were not given enough importance. Third, inequality, urbanization, good governance, innovation, and responsible production were largely missing from the MDG. Therefore, the international community realized that a broader, more inclusive, and universal development framework was required. This ultimately led to the development of Sustainable Development Goal. So, because of this, the birth of SDG in 2015 for Agenda 2013 happened. This agenda includes 17 Sustainable Development Goals with 169 targets. So, in which the first goal is no poverty. Its objective is to eliminate poverty in all its form and ensure social protection for vulnerable section of society. SDG 2 is zero hunger. This goal is to eliminate hunger, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. Third is good health. Fourth is about quality education. The objective is to provide inclusive, equitable, and quality education for everyone while promoting lifelong learning opportunity. Gender 5 is about, sorry, goal 5 is about gender equality. This goal aims to eliminate discrimination and violence against women while ensuring equal participation in every sphere of society. Sixth is clean water. Its objective is to ensure safe drinking water, proper sanitation facilities, and sustainable management of water resources. Seventh is affordable energy. These six goals, also called social goals and also called basic need goal, and after from 7 to 11 these goals called economic goals. So seventh is affordable and clean energy. This goal promotes access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy resources such as solar and wind energy. Eighth is decent work and economic growth. This objective is to promote sustainable economic growth, productive employment, and decent working condition for all. SDG 9 is about industry and innovation. This goal encourages industrial development, innovation, scientific research, and resilient infrastructure. SDG 10 is about the reduce inequality. The focus is to reduce inequalities within countries as well as among different countries. SDG 11 is about sustainable cities, which means the objective is to make cities safe, inclusive, resilient, and environmentally sustainable. SDG 12 is about responsible consumption and production, which means that this goal encourages efficient use of natural resources, waste reduction, recycling, and sustainable production patterns. SDG 13 is about climate action. It calls upon countries to take urgent action against climate change and its impact. SDG 40 is about life below water. This goal focuses on protecting oceans, marine ecosystem, and aquatic biodiversity from pollution and overexploitation. SDG 50 about life on land. The objective is to conserve forest, biodiversity, wildlife, and terrestrial ecosystem while preventing land degradation. SDG 16 is about peace, justice, and strong institution, which means that to promote peaceful societies, ensure access to justice, reduce corruption, and build accountable institution. Then the last is partnership for goals, which means that the final goal emphasizes that achieving sustainable development requires global cooperation, including finance, technology transfer, capacity building, and international partnership. From 1 to 6 social goals, from 7 to 11 economic goals, and from 12 to 15 are environmental goals. So these are the 17 sustainable development goals adopted under the 2013 agenda for sustainable development. Now an important question arises in your mind that where does India stand in achieving these goals? Which SDG are India's biggest strength, and where is the country still lagging behind? So now we will focus on the India's challenge. So if we talk about the India's challenge, then the India is off track in 7 SDG. SDG 2, SDG 3, SDG 5, SDG 11, SDG 14, SDG 15, and SDG 16. And SDG 2, you all know that about zero hunger. SDG 3 is good health and well-being. SDG 5 is about gender equality. SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. SDG 14, life below water. SDG 15, life on land. And SDG 16 is peace, justice, and strong institution. One important thing is that you have to be remember these all the sustainable development goals in the sequence, बिकॉज कई बार यूपीएससी और यूपीपीसीएस में डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन ऐसे आए एसडीजी 7 कौन सा है और 4 ऑप्शन दिए होंगे आपको बताना होगा, तो हमको ये ऐसे ही पता होना चाहिए एसडीजी 5 क्या है, एसडीजी 2 क्या है, एसडीजी 3 क्या है, एसडीजी 5 क्या है. And UPPSC always ask the question on this topic, and this is a very important topic from the perspective of PSC as well as the UPSC exam. So India's if we talk about the India's progress towards agenda 2030, then according to Sustainable Development Report of 2026, if progress continue at the present pace, then only 33.3% of targets likely to be achieved by 2030. This clearly shows that while India's ranking is improving, achieving all SDG by 2030 will require much faster implementation and policy reforms. And if we talk about the biggest concern, then the biggest concern in the SDG is SDG 2, which is about hunger. Among all the sustainable development goals, zero hunger remain India's biggest concern, in which the child stunting is 35.5% in the country. Stunting means low height for age. In simple words, अगर किसी बच्चे को लंबे समय तक प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन नहीं मिलता है तो उसकी फिजिकल ग्रोथ और ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट दोनों इफेक्ट होते हैं. ऐसा बच्चा अपनी एज के हिसाब से छोटा रह जाता है. दिस इज कॉल्ड चाइल्ड स्टंटिंग. दिस एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द रिपोर्ट अराउंड 35.5% of children under the age of 5 in India are affected by stunting. This indicates chronic malnutrition, meaning nutritional deficiency over a long period. And second is child wasting, which is increased from 16.9% to 18.7%. Child wasting means low weight for height. Unlike stunting, waste wasting reflects acute malnutrition, which develop over a short period due to severe lack of food or illness. This report shows that child wasting has increased from 16.9% to 18.7%. India continued to have one of the highest child wasting rates in the world, which is an biggest concern. And third is undernourishment, which is about 12% of population in 2023. Undernourishment means a person is not consuming enough calories or nutrition required for a healthy life. It is different from starvation because a person may eat every day but still not receive enough calories, protein, vitamins, and minerals. Such a person is called undernourished. And according to the report, nearly 12% of India's population was undernourished in 2023. Fourth is obesity rising, which is the double burden of malnutrition. Now, another interesting observation is that while undernutrition still exists, obesity is also increasing. Why is obesity increasing? If we talk about the figures, then adult obesity increasing 4.9% to 7.2% in this year. There are several reasons like increasing consumption of processed and ultra processed foods, sedentary lifestyle and reduced physical activity, higher intake of sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats, low intake of protein in the food. Because India is facing both undernutrition and obesity simultaneously, this situation is called the double burden of malnutrition. एक तरफ लोगों को सफिशिएंट न्यूट्रिशन फूड नहीं मिल रहा है और दूसरी तरफ अनहेल्दी फूड और लाइफ स्टाइल की वजह से ओबेसिटी भी बढ़ रही है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट पब्लिक हेल्थ चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया. Now, in last, I have to tell you that in India, NITI Aayog also releases a localized SDG India Index and its measure states and union territories performance in 0 to 100 scale for the SDG performance. So the best performing states according to the latest SDG India Index, and some of the leading performers are Kerala, which have the score 79, Uttarakhand also have 79, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Sikkim, and Haryana and Arunachal Andhra Pradesh are the top performer. Then if we talk about the worst performer, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Jharkhand and Bihar are the worst performer. So these challenges are often linked to poverty, infrastructure gaps, healthcare access, education outcomes, and governance capacity. So, friends, the Sustainable Development Report 2026 clearly shows that India is moving in the right direction, improving from 112th rank in 2050 to 94th rank in 2026. But, however, ranking alone is not the final objective. The real objective is to ensure that every citizen has access to quality education, healthcare, nutritious food, clean water, gender equality, employment opportunity, and a healthy environment. Then will India truly achieve the vision of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And economic growth without social justice and environmental protection cannot be called sustainable development. So thank you. This is all about the SDG Index of 2026. So thank you. I will see you in the next lecture.